In today's episode of Sharing the Mddl, you're going to hear me talking with Marla Green. She is a nurse practitioner and the entrepreneur behind Educatrix Seminars. You can find all of her information in the show notes. More importantly, Marla shares her amazing story, and she and I really bond over our shared experience when it comes to sudden onset illness and disability. I got so much out of this one, and I hope that you do too. Welcome to Sharing the Mddl, where recovering perfectionists, overachievers, and anyone in the middle of a struggle come together to learn to embrace the messy middles of life. I'm Lacey, your fellow middler and guide, whose claim to fame this week is actually making dinner last night for her family. I was real proud of myself. I'm so excited today to be joined by Marla Green. This is like the podcast that did not want to happen for both me and Marla, but we're here now, and I am so excited to have you. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And like you said, it's the podcast that did not want to happen. So
but we persevered. We got here.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So lots of reschedules and that kind of stuff. But we're here now. So I usually like to start with the question of when you first heard the concept of the middle, what was kind of your initial reaction about what the middle is for you?
Well, there were two thoughts. So the first one is that I'm kind of in that sandwich generation. I don't want to say we because you look younger than I am. So I'm kind of in that sandwich generation. I waited a little longer to have a child. I was 36 when I had him. So I'm raising a 9-year-old. And then my mom lives in the household with us, and she is but don't tell her that I told you her age. So
we'll blur it out or something. And I'll put like a beep over it.
Right. Just in case she listens, which I don't even think she knows how to do podcasts. So I think we're safe. But so I feel like I'm in the middle because, I'm taking care of him, and then she kind of needs my help sometimes too, which she doesn't want to admit that yet.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then also by being an entrepreneur, that's kind of like being in a storm, like in the middle of a storm. You're excited and, you're overwhelmed and you're overjoyed and you feel full. But I mean, there's just so much going around. So much. So those are the two things that I thought about.
It's interesting that you say storm, because a previous guest said she pictured herself sitting like in a valley and looking around at the mountains around her. And so I'm interested when you say the storm, I'm going to get real kind of in depth. So when I think of the eye of a storm, it's calm there. So is that a calm place for you looking out at the chaos, or is it in the chaos, if that makes sense?
Sometimes it's calm. And sometimes it's chaos. But I mean, most of the time, chaos. And if you don't hone in on being specific on what your path is, then you get lost in the chaos and you don't get anything done. Mm-hmm. So you have to be very focused on what you need to do. You have to have a well thought out plan.
Yeah. As someone in the beginning of her journey of entrepreneurship and building a business, that resonates very heavily with me because I want to do everything, right? I want to do this. I want to do this. I have this idea. I just need to stick to the plan. I really needed to hear that today, Marla. So I'm so glad you said it. So then we'll move into the majority of the podcast where we're going to talk about a middle moment of your life. So if you want to take it away and tell us about your middle.
I am a nurse practitioner. I always knew that I wanted to be a nurse. I was very fortunate. My whole life has been, to that goal. From the age of really 8, I've been working in a healthcare oriented field. Like my mom's friend was a doctor's wife. And so I would file for them during the summer. And then when I went to high school, I went to a boarding school. And so we had to work at the boarding school, and I worked in a nursing home. And so, I was a candy striper, right?
Yeah.
And so then, when I went to college, I worked as a server. But after that, I became a medical assistant, and then I finally went to nursing school. Then now I've found my way to being a nurse practitioner. So, I'd finally arrived, right? Nurse practitioner, have a 9-year-old. And then we were moving into our house. We live in Atlanta, Georgia. And so we had relocated. And so we were moving into our house and, everything was good. And then on the day that we're moving into our house, an 18-wheeler rear ends me and I'm in a 4-car accident. And my life goes from being a thriving nurse practitioner that's about to move into a house to being disabled.
Oh.
And it was devastating. I was depressed. I was hopeless. I didn't know what to do. I'm the sole breadwinner. I'm a single mom. Yeah. I don't get any help. And then, like I said, my mom's with me and I just...
And you had just reached this goal of a house and...
Right.
Yeah. How long, just so that I can kind of, how long had you been a nurse practitioner at that point too?
At that point, I had been a nurse practitioner for 4 years, but in the current position that I was in, I had only been there for a little bit over a year.
Yeah. So still so much fresh and new and like feeling like you made it. And then the rug got pulled out from under you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I was dealing with the pain and, trying to wrap my head around, what can I do to get better, right? Not living with pain, but what can I do to get better, right? Because I'm going to get over this. And then I had to transition to, okay, I'm going to live with some kind of pain, Yeah. But thankfully, I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
Because being on your feet, running around, taking care of patients all day, to sitting in the house and not being able to move because you hurt so much, but you still have all this pent up energy and you need to do something, it just doesn't work to just sit around.
I understand that. Yes.
Yeah. It was great to be a stay-at-home mom, to my then 3-year-old, but
you were doing that with a 3-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it was 6 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So I have a 3 and a 1-year-old and I am on my own disability journey and I cannot imagine taking care of my son full time by myself. You're a superhero. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom lived with me, and, my parents, my dad and my stepmom, they lived about 30 minutes away. So, they helped out, as well. But
not having a true partner in it. So my husband has essentially taken everything, you know what I mean? So I cannot imagine the load and the weight that would be on you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was... Yeah. It was dark. It was dark. And, antidepressants helped me a lot. I did go to therapy in the beginning. I was angry. I was really angry. And then, it took a while. It's not like it was overnight that I had this epiphany of, okay, either I can lay in this bed and wallow around for the rest of my life and not watch, not raise my child, or, I can get up and do something about it. Mm-hmm. But the way that I got that mindset was by looking for a job. And I ran across this health coaching opportunity. And by the person telling me about health coaching, that's how I realized that I needed to get healthier as well. And not just healthier in body wise, but healthier for mindset.
Yeah.
And that's really how that program helped me and how I helped so many others, as becoming a health coach. Change in mindset was, and where I was like, I've got to get up and I've got to push through this pain, and because it's going to be with me for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Was there a moment, like you kind of touched on this, and honestly, it's something I'm dealing with now. So this episode's mostly for me. Other people can get what they need. But
that's fine.
One thing that I'm kind of going through right now is this like grieving of my old self. Like yes. I am grieving, and my condition is unknown. I've got profound fatigue and weakness in my limbs that comes and goes as it pleases. And so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's going to end technically I could wake up tomorrow and be fine. Now, I will say, once I started saying that I am newly or temporarily disabled, I allowed myself to get some help, right? So I got myself a walker to be able to get around some of my house easier. I got this desk so that I could sit in my bed and still do some work, that kind of stuff. But I still haven't really accepted that this is maybe the rest of my life. So I guess I'm just curious about, was that a decision that you made? Was it part of like a diagnosis? Like, where did that come from?
Nobody ever told me, hey, Marla, this is going to be it, right?
Yeah.
Because doctors don't want to tell you that.
They do not.
Right. Because, our whole thing about it is giving you guys hope.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to stop giving you hope. And especially because most of my nursing background, like 95% of my nursing background, and even as a nurse practitioner, I was in oncology.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so, we want to keep hope alive. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a realist because, I also worked in palliative care for a little while as well. And so, I know that there is also an end, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I had to look beyond what the doctors were telling me, right? And I had to listen to what my body was telling me. Yeah. And so while they really don't know why I'm having so much pain either, because technically the x-rays and the CTs and everything say that I shouldn't be hurting as much as I am. And
it's one of my least favorite things in the world.
Oh,
tests
girl.
That come back normal and you're like, but I'm not. We can all see this.
Yeah. Yeah. And, family that's not so supportive and it's just like, I don't understand why you, are laying there. And don't you know that, your kids are seeing you like that. And that's
just
why.
Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going.
Right. Why are you doing this? You're showing them how to be sick, or you're showing them. Okay, let me give you some frame of reference. So my son has anxiety, a little bit of it has anxiety. And so before we knew that, sometimes, he would have pain, right?
Yeah.
And so when he would complain of pain, my parents would be like, oh, well, he's having pain because he sees you in pain. Ugh. And so the reason why he's reacting like that is because of you. So you need to get yourself together so that he can get better.
But really, that's just what he knows, right? He knows something's happening in his body. He knows it's not what he was feeling before. And
Right.
So he called it pain.
Right. And it's common for kids to do that.
Yeah.
But instead of accepting or trying to figure out what is going on with him, the focus was on me. And unfortunately, he's in, because, they didn't go to school today because of all this, stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
So, of course, he walked in right then and,
Because for the listeners, Marla had her power went out last night,
Right.
but it's back.
It's back.
This is just the series of events to get to today.
But yes, so yes, but to answer your question, yes, sifting through all that family junk and the friend junk of people not understanding about chronic pain, I had to find the emotional support within myself. I didn't know this was going to be so emotional, Lacey.
Sorry.
I had to find the emotional support within myself. So I did have to come to terms with being like, Marla, this is going to be you for the rest of your life. You may not know what's wrong with you, but you know that something is wrong. And you know that you're not faking.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Did you question yourself? Because I'm constantly questioning myself of like, I can't move my arm right now, but am I making that up? Or because if I concentrate really, really hard and get the energy together, I can, but that's not normal.
Right. Can I not move because I don't want to move? Is it because I'm being lazy?
Oh, the word lazy haunts me.
Girl.
Haunts me.
Yeah. Yeah, so yes, I had to come to terms with the fact that this is how it was going to be, and I might get better, I might not. And also, I want to say I have a stimulator in my back, and so that tricks my brain into thinking I'm not having pain.
Wow.
And so, well, but that's been a struggle lately as well because my stimulator has been malfunctioning. But again, my providers are like, "Well, is it malfunctioning? It doesn't usually do that. What? Well, why is that happening to you?" Well,
Everything happens to me.
right,
That's
right.
that's a joke my husband always has. He's like, if there is something that can be minorly wrong with someone, you have it. And then all the minor things add up, and then here we are.
Yes, yeah, I have a family member that I will not name that says that as well. Yes, yes,
I will say
yes.
he says it very lovingly of me, so it's not in a judgmental way.
Well, this family member does not. So
Yeah. I,
yes, but
props for him.
I had to come to terms with that, and I'm in a better place because of it.
Yeah.
And
So
and when I have
go
bad
ahead,
days,
finish.
no, that's okay. I was just gonna say when I have bad days, I do, and
Yeah.
and I do what I do, and when I have good days, I do, and I do what I do, and I try not to overdo it. And that's my thing to you is don't overdo it when you have good days because it just makes your bad days more frequent and worse.
And it's so hard because you're so excited that you're having a good day. That's me today. I'm having a really good day. I got up, I put on makeup, I feel like I could take over the world. But then I have this like constant math and calculator in my mind of, but don't push too hard because then you may be down for 3 days.
Yes, 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 and you look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I put on bright lipstick if I feel like I need to take out my day. So that's what. So I want to go back. So you started health coaching.
Yes.
And that really helped your relationship with yourself and your own emotions and your body. Take us from how you went from this health coaching to entrepreneurship.
Right.
I want to know.
So yeah, I loved health coaching, but just because I love something doesn't mean that I was really great at it.
Yeah.
Because at the core of my being, I am a patient advocate. And instead of selling you on something, that I think you should do, I'm a person about options. And
Speaking to the choir, I'm like, I literally made a TikTok because I enjoy TikTok 2 days ago that was like, I don't want to tell you what to do. I just want to give you options and then you do what's right for you because you're the expert on you. Thank you.
Yes. But to be a successful health coach, you need to be like, this is what you need to do, and this is what you have to do, and blah, 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 blah. And that is not me.
Yeah.
And so I was not successful. And the whole point was, or my whole mission in being an entrepreneur is to get off disability.
Yeah.
Like being on disability for me, I guess that's what I haven't come to terms with. Is being on disability, because I feel like there are other people that are worse off than I am that should be on disability. See, there's that stigma. I have a problem with that. So being in that mindset of I wasn't raised to be on disability, and that's the part that people do get to me, because I think am I sick enough to be on disability? I can still do something. People find out I'm on disability. You can't work. Well, why can't you work? You have all these degrees. And I'm like, well, it's because of the consistency, and I'm on a lot of medications, and I get this look.
Good
like,
days and bad days, they're unpredictable. I mean, that's why I started this, is that I could not do my old job anymore. I could not consistently show up that way. So I needed something that had the flexibility that I could dictate my schedule, when I worked, how I worked. I can do so much laying down from my phone, I've learned. But I could not do that in my previous work and life. Now, have I made $1 yet? No, it's my goal. I'm going to make a damn dollar at some point. But it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah.
It is hard. And it's hard for people to wrap their minds around, why can't you do something, especially if you have degrees? I don't get it. So you're telling me that you can't stand up long enough? And, you took care of patients all those years. They have telehealth. Why can't you do telehealth? Well, because I can't show up all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're not supposed to explain yourself. Oh, well, I'm not questioning you. I'm sorry. Went off on another tangent.
No.
So
Again, you are very much preaching to the choir right here. It's so hard to explain, and it's so hard to explain when you were this hardworking person. Again, this is something I very much relate to. I have 2 master's degrees. I defined myself by work most of my life, and then I got here, and it's like, well, what value do I have? I don't feel like I do anymore, and that pent up energy, like you mentioned, for me, I'm just creating in any way that I can, and someday I'm going to make money. That's the route that I'm going. It is hard when that's the person that they know, and it's like, but I mean, come on, can't you just do that? Not really.
And especially as women, because we're so devalued anyway.
Yes.
Adds to it. And they don't realize how much they're still just pushing us down. Yeah. So on top of feeling the guilt from, you know, not being the best mother that we can be because we're physically and mentally not able, can't cook as much as we want to. You know, we can't go out and play, you know, with our kids like we want to. I couldn't even teach my son to ride a bike. That killed me. I couldn't run with my son to ride a bike. But, you know, all they're seeing is what they think we're capable of and what we're not doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So instead of giving us, or, you know, trying to be like, okay, giving us credit, that's what I'm trying to say, for what we are doing.
Absolutely.
And, you know, not that I'm asking anybody to applaud me or, you know, be like, oh, good for you. No, but at least, you know, keep the negativity to yourself, you know?
Yeah. Keep that judgment in. I don't need it. Trust me, I'm judging myself enough. I don't need yours.
Right. I got the book right here. Hold on. Yeah.
Think about how much you've judged me and know that I've done it about 30,000 times more. So
right. Exactly. Yeah. But my entrepreneur journey. So yes. So health coaching wasn't really working out for me. I wasn't making money because I'm trying to get off disability. I was still doing health coaching, but I was still looking for something else. And so I heard of a continuing education company that they were trying to sell it. I, you know, asked about it. I was like, oh, that sounds like something I can do. Yeah. They were only meeting twice a year. And so I was like, okay, I can plan it from the bed. Yeah. And then I can, you know, make myself go twice a year. You know,
you can rest your energy up. You can prioritize, because you can do some planning. For me, at least. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No, you're right. No, you're right. You know, you can do some planning. I mean, and no, I mean, it's a 3-day conference, and yeah, it's hard, but you know, you have to choose your hard.
Yeah.
And for me, that was something that was doable, and you know, I could see how I could make a difference. And I was around my peers again, right? So I was talking my language again, right? Yeah. So I was really, really excited. And that's, you know, how that worked. Now, unfortunately, in going through that situation, you know, they decided not to sell the business to me. And it became, you know, a whole nother storm. And I've lost a whole bunch of money that I didn't have. But I still love doing it. And I'm, you know, I'm hoping that I can turn it profitable and make it work, because that's really what I want to do. And I still want to get off disability. Absolutely. But I mean, we'll see what God wants me to do, because now that I've started being really open about my disability journey, I've started feeling compelled to start talking about it more. You know, because I know that I wish that I could have had somebody to relate to when I was going through it. Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. To give audience like one takeaway or tangible thing, I love an action item. What would you share?
I would just say you can do hard things. I'm not saying push yourself, you know, over the edge, but I'm just saying, you know, plan and work towards it and get your mindset right. And you can do hard things. You know, just choose your hard. You know,
choose your hard. I love it. Can we put that on a shirt?
Hey, I mean, I wish it was mine, but actually I borrowed it from somebody else. But yes, choose your hard. Yeah.
She's your heart. I love that.
Yeah, if you guys would just tell your nurse friends to come and see me at educatrixseminars.com. We have in-person and online continuing education credits for them so that they can renew their license. But I would love to see any of your nurse friends or physician assistant friends in person or online. And you can follow us everywhere at Educatrix APS.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so glad that we fought through and didn't let all of our reschedules and whatnot stop us from talking, because I got so much out of this. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. This was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we did this too.
As usual, thank you for sharing the middle with me today. Remember to check out my writings at themddl.com. That's the MDDL.com. While you're there, you can sign up for the weekly newsletter to get a little bit more middle in your inbox each week. I am a one-woman show, so any bit of support means the world to me. I want the middle to be as accessible as possible, so I have several ways for you to support. You can shop the middle with some merch or my books, the Lacey Loves affiliate links and recommended products, Patreon for additional community and content, and I also just have a tip jar if you'd like to leave a tip. If you like today's show, also make sure to subscribe at your favorite podcatcher, share with a friend, and maybe even leave a 5-star review. Thanks so much to Lemon Music Studio for our theme music. It is literally called Sunshine, and that is certainly how it feels to me. Can't wait to see you in the middle again. Thanks for sharing the middle with me. As always, I hope you've been able to see a little bit of yourself in the story we shared today. Don't forget to follow, share, rate, review, and follow me on social media at Lacey Shares. You can always check out the Joyful Support Movement at joyfulsupportmovement.com and see all of the amazing goodness we have there, like No Shame in the Home Game, Pops of Joy, courses, resources, and of course, the Joyful Support Village. All right, now go out there and spread some joy.